it's a process because uh, we have a 14 or 15 man roster. 10 of them didn't play basketball last year. You
Mm,
know, 10 players did not play basketball
I didn't
last year.
realize it was
And
10. Yeah.
yeah, it's that many. And as a coach, it's challenging at times. And then also it's a blessing because when you get 10 players who didn't even play basketball last year, you kind of get their eyes wide open and their ears wide open as well. And everything that I'm telling them and trying to teach them, they retaining, which is a good thing. It's a great thing, especially for a basketball coach.
Welcome to the CL Brown Show. I am your host, CL Brown, columnist with the Louisville Courier-Journal. On this episode of the show, I will be joined by former University of Louisville guard DeJuan Wheat, one of the greatest of all times in that program. He will talk about his new venture as a first-year collegiate head coach at Simmons College of Kentucky. I'm a little bit fired up about this episode sound off. And it goes back to last week. We've had a couple of kind of weird things happen. So last week we saw University of Kentucky quarterback Zach Calzada post a video on social media with him counting a lot of money. It was aimed towards a internet troll, and I'm going to come back to that in a second. But we also had Jeff Brom, head coach at the University of Louisville. He and his family, Miller Moss was named the quarterback. All were apparently threatened. I still don't have a lot of details at the time of this taping, but my assumption that it was from a gambler who lost on Louisville playing Cal this past weekend and lashed out, making some kind of threats towards Jeff Brom and his family and Miller Moss as the quarterback. So the internet obviously can be a bad place. We know this. But I'm really focused on the Zach Calzada posting for a second because when it first came out, when I first saw Calzada literally counting hundreds, talking to some unknown person named Garrett. You never see Garrett. He just keeps saying Garrett throughout, telling Garrett to get his money up, basically. First, I thought it was uh, weird isn't the word I want to use. I just thought it was inappropriate for Calzada to post. But then I learned about why he did it and how it came about. Everybody has a breaking point, and you can't just talk crazy to people and expect them not to have some kind of retaliation. So I ended up, I'm essentially Team Calzada on this one. Now, in retrospect, yeah, he shouldn't have had all that money, which, I didn't count individually all the hundreds he had, but it was clearly in the thousands of dollars, all 100 bills, $100 bills. And he put out an apology statement afterwards, and I believe he deleted some of his social media accounts. But this kid, Jarrett, he, or Garrett, whatever, he called in to Kentucky Sports Radio show. And Matt Jones asked him a few questions. He was interviewed briefly on the channel, and the answers he was giving, basically just brushing it off like saying he trolled them, and he said like it was just a joke and making light of the things that he was saying to another human being who's playing football. And it really, really got under my skin because first and foremost, we don't have all the details of what he said in the DMs, and I believe it was on a Snapchat account. But the one thing he fessed up to over the radio was that he sent a message that said, "You suck at football" to Zach Calzada. Now, and for those listening, if you don't know, Calzada transferred in. He had his start at Texas A&M. He was on the roster at Auburn a year, but got hurt and never actually played for Auburn while he was there. He also went to Incarnate Word, which is where he transferred from to go to Kentucky. Started the year as Kentucky starting quarterback for, I believe, the first two games. Got injured against Ole Miss and has not played again. Cutter Boley has been under center as starting quarterback since then. But Calzada Despite whatever he did on the field, whatever he may not have done on the field, just don't reach out to players, people. Don't be a Garrett, okay? Because Garrett is up here typing things he would never have said to Zach Calzada had they been sitting across from each other. He wouldn't come at him sideways because of the thought that, hey, this guy is bigger than me. He's more athletic than me. He could probably whoop my behind if I say something cross to him. Because there will be accountability for the statements that you say when you're talking to somebody in person. And you don't have that same accountability when you're a little internet troll typing stuff on a keyboard. It really, really got under my skin because people act like they're just desensitized. This guy is sending messages to another human being who is trying his best, who has his failures play out in front of a national TV audience if he can't move the ball, if he can't complete a pass, and that kind of thing. And so you're getting at somebody who's already in a vulnerable state, who has put in a lot of time and work, blood, sweat, and tears, cliche. But to be in that position, and I'm sure I can make this assumption about Garrett, he never played. He never played Division I football. He probably never played college football. He might not have ever played in high school. He's probably just somebody who sits on the sideline talking, So again, I say I'm going to end it here because I could keep going on and I could keep rambling and I could keep ranting. But I understand why Zach Calzada did it. Now he probably shouldn't, and I hope most athletes don't take the bait of internet trolls. But I definitely say to all the fans who may be listening, don't ever be a Garrett. Now let's jump into my interview with DeJuan Wheat. And now I'd like to welcome to the show. If you don't have this man in your top, I say three University of Louisville guards of all time, then you need to ball up that list and write it again. Mr. DeJuan Wheat, who is now the head coach at Simmons College of Kentucky for men's basketball. DeJuan, thank you for joining the show.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
So let's jump right into you making this transition into college coaching. You kind of got your feet wet. You were with Wally Brown at IU Southeast for a few years, and you're even a high school head coach. Were you at Valley? I forgot where you were at.
Yes, sir. Yep.
Yeah.
Valley High School. Yep.
Okay. So, but this is a little bit different now. What's
Yep.
that transition been like, and what has this season been like so far?
Oh, it's the transition has been awesome. When I was coaching in high school, that was the ultimate goal of mine was to coach college basketball. And when I was in high school, I was preparing myself to be a college head coach. And once I left high school, I went to be the assistant over at IU Southeast with head coach Wally Brown. Learned so much valuable knowledge from him. Mostly uh, just how to run a team. Holding everybody accountable from the players to the trainers to the organization to the school. Valuable lessons learned from Coach Wally Brown.
How much do you take from playing under Denny Crum? Like, what do you find yourself doing today in practice that Coach Crum did with you guys way back when?
Yeah, just the ins and outs of regular just interacting with kids. He was one of the best. When you're dealing with 18 to 22-year-olds, you never know what kind of mood you're gonna get coming through that door, and you have to be able to adapt. And Coach Denny Crum was the best at that, the very best at that.
Is that something that has come natural to you, or is that something that you've had to work on?
Yeah, it's come natural. I've actually it helped when you actually have been around it. From my playing career, I know some of my teammates, come in with good attitude, some come with bad attitude, some come, off a breakup with their girlfriend. I mean, it's just different interactions, and
Yeah,
as a basketball coach, you have to expect that, and I already understand it, so it's kind of helped me with the process.
yeah. So, I know you've only had a handful of games so far, but for people who've never been to watch you guys play, what characteristics do you want them to take from watching the DeJuan Wheat coached team?
Oh, fun basketball. Fun basketball. We focus on defense, but I understand that in order to win at college basketball, you have to put the ball in the basket. And I think I accepted this job back in early April, and I would say uh, if I accepted the job on Monday, Wednesday we was in the gym, and nonstop from that point on, and that's what we've been doing. I like my philosophy is if I get the guys better individually as basketball players, then we will become better as a team. So that's
What's
what basically I focus on right there.
Yeah, what was the pitch like when Jerry Eves came to you as another former U of L great and
Yes.
AD at Simmons when he came to you like, hey, I want you to be the leader of this program now. What
Yes.
was that whole process like?
Actually as simple and to the point. He just asked me basically,
Jerry
are
is
you
simple and to the point.
yeah, he is. And matter of fact, too. I
Yeah.
love it. I love it. But I guess the conversation went something like, you know, Dewan, are you ready to run your own team? And I was said absolutely. And that's where and it took off from there.
So being at Simmons, I feel like it's more than just trying to I mean, all coaching is about developing young men to, become men and out into the
Yes.
real world. But I feel like at Simmons, there's a different layer to it. And on your roster, I feel like I know of several guys who weren't even playing basketball who wanted this opportunity, and it's like a
Yes.
way to get them back into things. So, what is it like having kind of almost like a adjacent mission on
Yes.
not only, you know, helping guys on the court, but really building these young men off of it.
See, man, you hit it on the head. I mean, it's a process because uh we have a 14 or 15 man roster. 10 of them didn't play basketball last year. You
Mm,
know, 10 players did not play basketball
I didn't
last year.
realize it was
And
10. Yeah.
yeah, it's that many. And as a coach, it's challenging at times. And then also it's a blessing because when you get 10 players who didn't even play basketball last year, you kind of get their eyes wide open and their ears wide open as well. And everything that I'm telling them and trying to teach them, they retaining, which is a good thing. It's a great thing, especially for a basketball coach.
So we often I feel like I'm an old timer now, and we'll
Yeah, we are.
reflect
We are.
back,
Yeah.
yeah, reflecting back on my youth and everything, and hearing people talk sometimes like kids are different. This generation is XYZ different, and of course, the technology for sure is way different. We didn't deal with social media and everything like that. But from your perspective, when it comes down to the X's and O's of it and the motivation and everything, how would you characterize are the kids you coaching today very similar to when a young DeJuan Wheat walked in, Freedom Hall for the first time
Yes.
with Coach Crum?
Absolutely. As much as you would like to be like, oh no, it's just, kids are just a little different, but it's the same. It's not. They're different. They're different. Let's just be frankly honest, they are different, but at the same time, this world's different. This world's different. And the point of coaching is you have to be able to adapt. Whatever walks through that door, whatever, personality you have to be able to adapt. And I think that's the process of having a successful career in coaching. You have to be able to adapt to players at the talent level of players, the attitudes of players, the everyday in and outs that players go through. You have to be able to adapt.
Yeah. So I think one of the things that defined your career at U of L was a certain level of toughness. Maybe even I might be overstating it, but maybe even people didn't expect you to be that tough. Like,
Yeah.
it's not like you're big 6'8",
Right.
272, you know
Right.
what I
Right.
mean? I
Right.
mean, you were a guard. So has it been? has there been any difficulty in you uh bringing on a kid who doesn't have the same will and toughness that you have? Just to
Yeah,
trying to
yeah.
figure out why isn't it as simple as you're gonna go hard?
That's the challenge level as a basketball coach because I hate bringing like my and I don't do it a lot my playing career to the players, but I do stress that you know I played through a lot of things. I played through injuries. Like throughout my 4-year career, I never missed a start from beginning to end. From my freshman year, as soon as I walked through the door of U of L, I started into the last game of my career, which, I was only on one leg. I still got out there and toughed it out. Sometimes that's what it has to be. That's what it has to be. And these kids these days, I know they go through different things. It's different challenges than you and I had CL growing up. But you have to be able to adapt to tough environments, and that's the process of the kids today.
Yeah. So I do want to take you back down memory lane a little bit with your career, and you kind of just alluded to it, playing on one leg. But what was that 97 Elite Eight run like when you did you get injured in the first round of the tournament that year, or was it?
Well, actually, I had this I had a slight ankle injury, which uh, I don't know if you guys knew, but we was all supposed to wear active ankles, and active ankles was ankle braces
Yeah.
that all the players had to wear, and I never wore one ever. But I had this nagging little ankle injury. It wasn't major. I could still play through it. It didn't, hamper my play, but it was just nagging. So the last game of my college career, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna put on an active ankle, and that's what they was called. So it was an ankle brace. And unfortunately, the first time I ever put on one was when I got injured. So, that
That's
was really tough for me.
that's not exactly a ringing endorsement of using that product,
Right, right.
but that was terrible. But you still toughed it out for the Sweet 16 win. Was that the now I'm getting my teams mixed up. Was that
Sweet
Texas?
Sweet 16, it was Texas. Yes, sir.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Sweet
And
16 was Texas.
then the facing Carolina in the
Yep.
Elite Eight, and seemed like that team was destined in Dean Smith's last year to get
Absolutely.
to the Final Four. But
Yes.
so I know we're taping this before the UK game, so we can't obviously speak to that outcome. But what were your best memories from that game? And how much can winning this game for U of L this season do for the rest of the season?
Yeah, my memories is wow. I mean, I remember my very first me and Jason Osborne, we was freshmen, and uh the first game of the season was against UK. And I would just remember that game. It was a 40-minute game, but it really felt like a 10-minute game, and it went super fast. And as a freshman, I felt like I didn't really get comfortable until like the game was almost over. Like, okay, because I don't care who you are. Well, for me, I'm gonna speak for me personally. When I play, I always had a little slight butterflies, just always. It wasn't for nervousness, it was just anticipation or, just ready to play or anything. I always had butterflies. And, those type of games, it's a fans game. I call it a fans game because on the schedule, it's really just another game for us. But, the fans take a liking to it, and we all understand that. And we want to perform for those guys.
Yeah. So, if you were giving advice to Mikael Brown Jr., talented freshman for U of L, obviously more than just this game, but this season,
Mhm.
what kind of advice would you give him in terms of navigating the highs and lows, the praises he's going to get surely when he plays well, and some of the blame when they lose?
Yeah. Uh, it's going to be up and downs. It's going to be highs and lows. Like I said, my very first game, I can't remember how many points I scored, but I know it wasn't a lot. Uh, and I just remember all during the season, just like, man, I wish we can play them guys one more time because, If you follow my career, I had a great freshman year, and that game, first game, helped me throughout my whole freshman year because I was so disappointed in myself because I felt like I could have played much better, and I was just looking for that next opportunity to keep coming, and that helped me throughout my freshman year. But as far as Mikhail Brown Jr., what a talent! Awesome talent. Haven't really haven't seen a full game of him play yet, but I will tonight for sure. Uh, if I can offer any advice, just do what he's done, to get him to this point. Just play within himself. Of course, there's going to be a lot of excitement, a lot of hype, a lot of buzz in the gym, in the arena tonight. But just do what he's done, which is play basketball and be one of the best players at his position, for the last couple of years that he's been playing.
Yeah, did you ever have you ever kind of experienced while you're playing or just watching the game after um against UK? Does it have any real impact, do you feel like, on the rest of the season? Like winning this game, is there a springboard from it, or losing this game? Is there kind of any kind of after effects, would you say?
Uh, yeah, I mean, I guess to the fans, I'm gonna tell you, CL, when I played, and it was this guy came up to me, and he told me, he's like, DeJuan, he said, Wheat, I don't care if you guys win another game, just win the Kentucky game. So I was like, wow, what about the other, 28, 30 games we got to play?
Yeah.
So when I asked him and I came back, it was jokingly, I'm like, so we can win this, we can lose this game against Kentucky, but if we win a national championship, would that matter? And honestly, CL, he said he thought about it. He was like, well, yeah, it's different. And I was kind of surprised. I mean, he had to really pause and think like, man, man, we really want this game. If we win the championship, yeah, but we really want this game. So,
Yeah.
yeah, man, this is man, this is one of the greatest rivalries in sports to me personally. Of course, I'm biased, but man, just the excitement for the players leading up to this game is awesome. And whatever happens, happens. But yeah, this is definitely not a normal game.
All right. Well, I'll leave you out on this. You mentioned the fans games. What do you see on your calendar with Simmons on your schedule? What would you consider the fans game? What's the game that people need to come to check you guys out?
Yeah, exciting. Youthful basketball. Like I said, we have, 10 players that didn't play last year. So, the process of my job is to get these kids better, individually. Then that trickles down to the team success. And we have success. We've won 2 games out of 4 or 5 this year. So, we not in a bad place. We're getting better and better. Exciting basketball. Try to try to get these guys to understand that defense wins games, and that's the process. And just have people to come out and see another brand of basketball that Simmons College is trying to put on the floor.
Yeah. I got one more for you. What does success
Yep.
look like for you in year one at Simmons?
Oh, for me, winning games. Even though we got a lot of inexperienced talent, that's the only thing I that's the only thing that matters to me is winning games. Yes, I know our our schedule's tough. We play a lot of area teams that's, you know, quote unquote supposed to be, 10 times better than us, but I challenge the guys to compete, and that's what we plan on doing.
Indeed, indeed. Well, I appreciate you joining me, DeJuan. Ladies and gentlemen, DeJuan Wheat. Finished his career as the second all-time leading scorer at U of L, behind Darrell Griffith. I should note that, although records are made to be broken and
Yeah.
moved down, but still, that's awfully a
Yes, sir.
lofty achievement. And I appreciate you taking some time today.
Yes, sir. Thank you, man. Thanks for having me.
Now it's time for pickup lines, where I try to predict the outcomes of college football games against the spread. Let's start with Louisville against Clemson. Louisville coming off a home loss. They are a 3-point favorite against the Tigers in L&N Stadium. And I'm gonna stick with the Cards on this one. I think Jeff Brom, the marquee games, he always has his teams ready. He always have has a sharp game plan. And I think especially because they lost, they're gonna come out a little bit more focused and a little bit sharper this week on Friday. It's a Friday night game against Clemson. So give me the Cards, lay the points. Indiana, 29.5 point favorite at home against Wisconsin. The Hoosiers got a scare last week. They didn't end up losing to Penn State, but they could have. And because of that, I feel for the Badgers because IU is going to send a message. People are probably looking at Texas A&M like they should jump IU, and people thinking that maybe this team isn't as good as we've thought they are. And I think they're going to send a message. So give me the Hoosiers, lay the 29.5 points. Notre Dame takes a trip to Pittsburgh, where the Irish are 11.5 point favorites. Give me Pitt in this one. I'm going to go with the home dog. I love taking home dogs, especially double digit points. I think Pitt's offense is going to be able to put up some points in this game. I'd probably actually look at the over as well. But I will stick with the true ACC member and not the ACC when it's convenient. Notre Dame squad. Moving on to Alabama. They are 6 point favorites against Oklahoma. The game is in Tuscaloosa, so I again am sticking with the pattern of home teams, even though they are favorite. Pitt was underdog, but give me the Tide. I'm not a big believer. I still don't think Oklahoma has turned the corner as far as I'm concerned. As far as I'm concerned, when playing against high quality team like Alabama, and Alabama's just been on a roll, pardon the pun, for the Crimson Tide. Moving on to the last game, Georgia, also in the SEC. Georgia is a 6 point favorite over Texas. And I think this is the first time in a very long time, if not ever, the have gone to Athens to play in between the hedges. Definitely their first trip since joining the SEC. It should be a pretty tight game, I feel like, early on, but I think the Dogs pull this out, cover the spread. As much as I think Texas has improved over the course of the season and Arch Manning, that quarterback has improved, I don't think they're ready for prime time like Georgia is. And Georgia also, I felt like they weren't really a team that I liked earlier in the season, but they're headed in the right direction. I think they're playing at a high level now. So give me the Dogs to cover that 6. That will do it for pickup lines. That will do it for another episode of the CL Brown Show. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please, if you're watching on YouTube, click on those buttons to subscribe to the show. If you're listening on a podcast, listening audio, Spotify, Apple, wherever you get it, please also click on those follow buttons to subscribe to the podcast. Leave a 5-star review if you would, because we need more love in this world. Or you can catch my columns at courier-journal.com. If none of that fancies you, you can wait till next Wednesday when another episode drops. Thank you again for tuning in.